I will be continuing with the remaining questions that we had asked that day to Advocate Valsankar, which were a little different from the ones that you addressed right now. Because of the whole online format of everything right now. So when we design our consent forms, so a digital signature should become acceptable and legally valid, right?
So there are digital signatures are also of varied types. So depending on for what purposes you need that, digital signatures are taken. There are categories of it. Probably you might want to check with those people, for what purposes you need those, and accordingly you can get those.
Otherwise, we ask them to take a printout of the consent form and sign it and send us the PDF.
Absolutely.
That would be most valid.
Also, when we start talking about electronic format, terms of use, for example, electronically, technology is also of help here. Typical scenario is, when I subscribe to any channel or any newsletter, they do ask me that, whether I agree that I will be sent with promotional sort of emails. And to some extent that is also an intrusion of privacy, but that is how consents are taken. Do not disturb list is also one sort of way to look that my privacy is disturbed because of promotional emails. So there are various creative ways where consents can be taken. It need not be only paper and pen. But yes, that's a traditional way to look at it, but technology has also come to our help.
Okay. So even if we are taking somebody's interview and then putting it up on social media, we should be having a form where at least they have ticked that I agree for my video to be put.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That is the bare minimum we should be having with us.
Right. Because, again, I recollect you telling me that there are certain performances also that are incorporated. So under copyright law, there are different rights also of a performer.
Okay.
Those are called as performers' rights, which are independent of any copyright. So, when you are using any songs, there are different licenses that you need to take. Performance licenses that you need to take. Even the performers' rights are involved. So, all these licenses are advisable to be in place.
Okay.
Again, the best argument for an NGO could be that these are for non-commercial purposes.
Correct.
But I would rather be very cautious and just, put all these licenses in place.
Correct. And so whenever we put this on social media, in our description, this line also has to be there all the time, that this is for education and awareness purposes, not for commercial purposes. We should always...
Well, I wouldn't put it on every post, but generally, I'm sure the account that you hold, general header or in a small this thing could be inserted. Not needed within every post.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. That clarifies a lot of my doubts. Shagun, Ishan, Aarti, do you have any questions to ask?
Yes, ma'am, I have a couple of questions.
Please go ahead.
Please, Shagun.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for doing this, sir. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. So you talked about waivers, right? That we can have consent forms where people waive their right to privacy technically for us to use it for promotional and educational purposes, right? So, right to privacy is technically a fundamental right, and the court has upheld that fundamental rights cannot be waived. So in that case, will we face...
So it's more, I wouldn't, that's a very clever argument, but I would not title it as a waiver. I would title it as a consent, meaning thereby I'm not actually asking a waiver. Waiver is waiving of a sort of a right that they wouldn't actually do. But whereas a consent would be a positive act, whereby now you give a consent that, okay, I'm okay with you providing my sort of, information with someone else. So nomenclating it as a waiver, I would rather prefer it as a consent.
Okay, sir. And sir, so consent, is consent going to be bulletproof? Like or do we have to like think ourselves and be ahead of ourselves and write some certain situations that for this particular thing you are giving your
I would be, think it through, for what all information, for what all purposes, the photographs or anything else, including information, would be required. And then, I would sort of smartly cover all the possible scenarios, at least, of which I am aware of today, based on varied experiences.
Yes, sir.
And I would do that accordingly.
Yes, sir. And so, like for example, we take interviews of people like, let's say, suffering from epilepsy. So
Right.
they are very particular about anonymity because people are like, if this word gets out, I might not get married or something like that.
Absolutely.
So
Very
yes, sir. So we let's say we upload a video of an interview with an epilepsy patient. We take all precautions from our side. We change their voice modulation. We blur their faces. We don't supply their names. But
or,
just
or essentially just dark out only, shoot those interviews from the back. It's
yes, sir.
so basically the face is not known, the
Yeah.
name of course not known, and it's a dark room whereby I can only see. But nevertheless, again, for these purposes also, I would reach out to them for consents.
Yes, of course, we'll take consent, but just in case, let's say someone, their relative or someone watches that video and figures out who they are or their identity goes out. So in that case, where do we lie in terms of liability or
There
like,
would
let's
be a
say,
liability if, when there is an explicit prohibition that you should not be, so you will have to take that all precaution. There is no choice. So we are walking a thin line.
so we'll
So
have to say that we are going to take all precautions from our side, but just in case something goes wrong, we
then,
won't
then
be
you
held
will be
liable.
liable. Just so in that situation, yes, you will be liable.
Oh, and can we just say in the consent form that if something goes wrong, the NGO will not be held liable?
Then then it steps into an inconsistent part. So I take it that, that particular participant or an interview starts with a premise that, my identity,
Yes.
my identity has to be protected. Correct? Do whatever it takes. My identity has to be protected. So I would assume that such a candidate would not actually sign such a consent.
Makes sense. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And sir, the fact that we do not use it for commercial purposes, how much deniability does that give us, like in terms of liability?
Come back again. How much?
How much deniability that gives us in terms of liability? Like, let's say someone's accusing us of something, so we can say that we are not using it for commercial, not in cases of interviews, normal general PR thing.
Let's accept this fact that, NGOs are not NGOs in pure sense. Somewhere or the other, even to make, although it's a non-profit organization or whatever, still there is some, what do you call it, activity, a commercial activity involved. So this simple argument may not just absolve the NGO from a forthcoming liability.
Okay, so and sir, in an event, apart from the organizing committee members, there are other participants as well. So if there's a misconduct from any other participant in our event, will we still be held liable?
See, therefore, if I'm sure, you have read these passages or sentences, lines, when you read articles in newspaper, where they say that the views expressed by the author are their own individual and
Yes,
the newspaper will not be held liable for it.
yes,
So we are talking about those kind of situations here. So you will have to make sure that the participants or the audiences generally are said that, the views expressed by the participants are their own and cannot be looked upon as the views of the NGO or an organization or of that platform. So you will have to, achieve that neutrality, where you are just an organization which is creating a platform or making a platform available for people to express their views without associating yourself with those views.
right. Yes, sir. And sir, when we talk about that the organization will be held liable, so organization is technically not a person. So when we say that the organization will be held liable for in misconduct of, let's say, an intern or any other participant,
Well,
does that,
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So does that mean that the director or the founder, like who exactly in the chain would be held liable? Because according to,
Depends on what sort of NGO are we talking about. If the NGO is registered as a society or a trust, or those are people, they can be sued in their name, individual name, and whoever the trustees are will be party to it. So it is depends on the constitution of the particular NGO. So if they are personally liable, they are personally liable. If it's an institution or an organization, then as an office bearer, they would be held responsible for it.
yeah, but usually employees are not held liable because the principal agent think the principal is held liable because technically you're working for them,
Yes,
right?
of course, of course.
Yes, sir. And so for consent forms, initially we were thinking about Google Forms. So, but what I understand from your talk that Google Forms would not make sense because technically people don't sign on Google Forms.
No,
So,
I'm not suggesting that signatures are a must. All that I'm saying is that with whatever technology is available and acceptable to us, Google Forms, as long as I can prove that, that person has signed it meaning the sender is that person, I should be okay with it.
all right.
Because, today, let's accept the reality that you and me are sending out emails, and emails are a good piece of document.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, sir. Thank you. That was it.
Sure. Pleasure.
Thanks for the extensive questioning, Shagun, on all our behalf. So, and thank you, Advocate Valsankar, once again for giving so much time generously for our program.
Anytime.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I said it is my pleasure to answer.
Thank you so much. And it has really opened our eyes to the responsibility that we carry once we call ourselves an NGO. So definitely it has been a landmark program for us. So thanks for being a part of this once again. So those were all our three speakers, and I thank all of you who have taken time out to attend today's program. And I thank all the interns who are very actively involved in organizing this program, from the design team who made the poster to the content team who wrote the captions, the marketing team who put up all the posts on the social media, and the back office team who managed the back end of today's event, and the legal team who reached out to the advocates and who thought of so many questions to ask. All these committees and the strategy team for helping us in ideating the whole program. So special thanks to all of you, and thanks for all the other NGO people who have attended the program today. And I hope that this was very informative for you. For us as an NGO, we have really benefited from this program because now we know how we need to design our forms, our applications, and so many other things. Otherwise, doing social work is not an easy task because sense of entitlement is something that society can get very quickly, and we want our purpose to be served in a very proper manner, and we want the correct beneficiaries to benefit from all the activities that we are doing. So I thank all of you for being here today, and wishes on World NGO Day again. And I hope all our NGOs flourish in their passionate and compassionate work that we are doing. Thank you so much.